everyone, I said I was going to do this, so here it is. I'm going to share my story, but it's really his story. So I'm excited to share my testimony with you guys, so here I go. So I grew up in the church, and I always went to church, and I always went to youth group, but I never really lived for God. I lived a life of complacency, and my spiritual walk with Him was a life of complacency. And it wasn't one where I desired Him or desired to be with Him or get in the Word. And I would pray and I would call out in my times of need, but I wouldn't when I had good times, when I had times of blessing. And in my middle school years and in high school years, for whatever reason, I experienced some bullying. I experienced some deep depression, especially my 7th grade year. And I just remember Him coming to my aid and grabbing me out of this pit when I was just sobbing in bed one night in 7th grade. And then in 10th grade, I was on the JV basketball team, and things were just rough. I just wasn't getting along with anybody on the team. I feel like I had no friends and stuff, and I just been bullied. And this one guy just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me and kept coming after me for whatever reason. And you wouldn't think that someone of my height, my stature, would be bullied, but that's the way it was for me, because my nature is to be kind and uncombative, and usually that leads to people who are mean-spirited and whatever else, leading to bullying and leading to me being walked on. So in high school, I was a church hopper. I loved going to church, but I loved it because of relationships, not because I wanted a relationship with Him, but relationship with others and with friends. I desire that all human beings do. And I actually went to 2 different youth groups and 3 different churches. I served at Keystone in Saline. I went to Northridge on Saturday night, and I went to youth group at actually 4 different churches: Oakwood Baptist in Saline, and then here on Hills, my church that I grew up in all these years. So I was ridiculous. I was getting filled with the Word, and the Word was being put in my life, but I wasn't applying it and putting it into practice. Well, that all changed come my graduation from high school. I went to Russia in 2007 to Blagovicius, and I got to share the message of Christ. And my relationship with Christ wasn't at a point where I was really open to what He was going to do in my life, but I could see Him working in others' lives. And I could also see Him working in my life and how I can be used as a vessel and as a tool. And I started meeting with mentors, Ron Hardy, Kirk DeMars, and they started showing me passages and get me in the Scripture. I read through the Bible in a year plan, but it actually took me about a year and a half. But I devoured the Word. I started to know it. I started to know Him more. And I remember praying this specific prayer. I prayed, God, I want to give it up to You because I know what You've called me to. It's not sports broadcasting. It's youth ministry. It's serving You, and I want to go where You want me to go. 3 days after I prayed that prayer, Tom Robinson from Knox Presbyterian Church here in Ann Arbor came into Meyer, where I was working at the time, offered me an internship, was where we were talking about what I want to do with my life. 3 days. That's the answer to prayer. Cannot be denied. Cannot be refuted. God listened to my prayer, and He heard it, and He responded. So I had the internship. And so things went really well with that, and things went really well continuing that. I got more ministry opportunities as I continued to get in the Word and grow my spiritual walk with Him and grow my intimacy with Christ and knowing what He wants from me and who He is, His character and His love, and how I can express that to others. So 2010 was a huge summer of growth for me. Absolute exponential growth. I was in the Word. I banned myself from the internet. I didn't talk to my girlfriend all summer. I grew because I was devouring the Word and worshiping Him, spending my quiet time with Him, giving away. And He was just filling me up, encouraging me. Well, then I went off to Indiana Wesleyan to pursue my youth ministry degree in Christian ministries down at Indiana Wesleyan. And first semester went great, but things were in me, some hatred and some malice and some envy, and that kind of played out over this Christmas break, where I just came home and had to study all semester, and all the weight of everything just hit me all at once, and I didn't know how to handle it. And this is how it had been my whole life. When struggles came, I'd rely on myself, trying to show Him that I'm buff, when I know I need to rely and depend on Him. And it just wasn't working out for me. And so it all hit me, and I fell into another depression. I've been in that many times, and I didn't know what to do. I wasn't trusting in Him. I wasn't faithful. I wasn't obedient to His call, and I ran away from Him. And so I got kicked out of school because I stopped going to classes. I stopped going to chapel. I stopped doing things that I know He called me to do, and things I needed to do to graduate so I could serve Him like some of my friends are doing right now, where I should be. So anyway, I went to Oklahoma City, and I basically, got a great internship there with my cousin Mike Fackler and got to do awesome things with him. And it was a wonderful time for me. And I grew a lot there, but I was still depressed and really running from God. And it was a graceful, awesome thing that I got to experience despite how my soul was hurting. My heart was hurting bad, real bad. And I was putting on this front. I was putting on this smile, pretending that I had it all together when I knew I didn't. I came back here, and outside of that internship, it was really a wasted year academically for me. Didn't get any credits gained whatsoever. Went back to Washington, started pursuing my degree to prove to Indiana Wesleyan that I can go back and that I can do these things. I will serve God with my life. And so through this year, this last year, 2012, I've gotten to experience God in new ways, and He's shown me how to trust Him. I got to go to Croatia and serve Him. I got to the greatest blessing was to be under Mark Ryan Tarot and experience what ministry is like, and to be invested in ministry for a year consistently. So that was really cool, invaluable experiences, and it was awesome. And God's just really showing me that He's got a hold of my life, and despite me running away from Him, despite my flaws, my failures, my lust, my pride, my greed, my envy, my jealousy, those are all things that I possess and that I carry. But He's died for those things, and I know that, and I just want to live for Him. Basically, I don't feel worthy of being a follower of Christ. I don't feel worthy of the grace and mercy that He's shown me. But He's told me, my grace, I have it 70 times 7 for you. You will never, ever be unworthy, because you are now being obedient and you're following me with all your heart. And that's what He desires of you. I am Peter Achauer, and I am second.